Greetings! I'm back from my travels. I'm in all my warm stuff, although I could have done with like this warm jumper when I was in Calpe. But one of the things that I get asked every single time, multiple times when I'm away is, oh, how would you compare this place to one of three other places? So I'm going to compare the four main ones that you ask me about regularly because I've been very lucky to go to them, some of them multiple times. So the different places are Calpe, Mallorca, Gran Canaria and Tenerife. And I've got like a little, I don't know, like a little list of things to go through for each one. So that is the location that I stayed, the weather, the cost, what else? The terrain, did I mention that? And then what there is to do off bike. So I'm gonna start off with the most recent, which is Calpe. So Calpe, we stayed just outside Calpe actually. We flew into Alicante airport and it was about a 40-minute drive to where we stayed. Weather. So the weather there, not that great. Not that great. I don't know if we just got really unlucky, but I think generally this time of year in Calpe, it is changeable anyway. So you're not always guaranteed like mega hot, dry days. So that's something to bear in mind. It generally is okay though, but I think we just got unlucky. The terrain. So the terrain was like really mixed. So there was a lot of flat, but there was also a lot of very short, steep climbs, like just on side roads and things. So there was a lot of steep stuff, but there was also a lot of nice gradual climbs as well. So there's like a proper mixture of everything you could ever really want from a cycling trip. The only thing that I would say about Calpe that I didn't really like that much, this is probably a bit ridiculous to say, but there were just a lot of cyclists, like lots of cyclists. And then this is my just personal experience, I found that they just came past you, like they were like all over. I had like some guy like undercut me as well. I'm just like what are you doing? So I didn't personally like that there were like that many huge groups of cyclists and they were all kind of a little bit, I don't know, a bit all over the place. That was just my personal preference from that. Off-bike things. So maybe it's just because where we stayed, I didn't feel like there was a lot of like cafes. When I was riding around, I didn't feel like there was like loads and loads of cycling cafes. There's a nice beach near where we stayed, which was really pretty, and restaurants as usual, but I didn't feel like there was loads of places to stop and get a drink, or like I didn't stop that many times because I just was like, there weren't that many. So that is Calpe in a nutshell. Overall, I didn't really love it. I wouldn't be in a rush to go back if I'm honest. It was kind of okay. Maybe it's just the weather. Maybe the weather put me off. Right, next up, Mallorca. I absolutely love Mallorca so much. It is an absolute playground for cyclists. I just think it is amazing. But let's go through the categories and see if it's going to be right for your cycling trip. So the first thing is where we stay. So I would always say to stay in Port Pollença, which is at the north of the island. You can stay in Palma, which is at the south, right near the airport. But for me, I just find it a little bit too busy, a little bit too hectic. So we always go north. So yeah, 40 minutes drive, like in a taxi, or, you can rent a car also as well. Weather, probably similar to Calpe in that it's going to be better than the UK in our winter, but it's still going to be, you're still going to have wet days. It's still going to be chilly. You're still going to need like jackets, leg warmers, arm warmers, or maybe just tights and like long sleeve thermals. So it's not mega hot and sunny. I would say go from anywhere between like mid-April to like September, October. But in summer it's going to be warm, but it's just so nice. Cost. So the best way I think of doing Mallorca is getting a villa. So they have lots of different companies out there. I use Villa Plus. I think it's called, Villa Plus, not an ad, but you can just get cheaper accommodation when you do I think you have to do like Saturday to Saturday or Sunday to Sunday. And I think, because we're going to go in May, and I think our villa costs I think it maybe was £600. I think there's four of us going. But it is really cheap. It's like our own villa with a pool and it's like absolutely stunning. But it's cheap. It's cheaper than doing like hotels or other accommodation, because there's something with, I don't know what it is, but with Mallorca they have some kind of like tax on Airbnb, so you can't always find really cheap Airbnbs, so that's a bit of a pain. I think it's to try and force or like encourage like us tourists to use the actual hotels rather than individuals just renting out Airbnb. So that's something to bear in mind. The terrain. So the terrain in Mallorca, it's so good. It's just long, steady climbs. There's a lot of flat as well. So there's like a complete mixture. There's nothing really steep. So yeah, I think Mallorca is a really, really good, it's just really fun. I just really, 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 I don't know if you can tell, really love it. And off-bike stuff, there's a couple of really like nice beaches. There's so many cafes, there's shops, there's really nice, it probably sounds daft, but really nice supermarkets. Yeah, there's just a mixture of everything there. Then we go on to Gran Canaria. So when I go to Gran Canaria, I've stayed in a couple of places, but the last few times I've been, I stay in Arguin again. I think that's how you pronounce it. Because it's just really good location for all the hills. And it's really nice and quiet around there. If you wanted like some more kind of like busyness, like bars, pubs, restaurants and stuff, I'd say in Maspalomas, but again, that is quite a busy place. So that's something to bear in mind. And equally there, again, maybe, I think they're about 40 minutes from the airport. I think all of these are about 40 minutes from the airport. Cost, Gran Canaria, again, it's just got to get some good flights. Generally, I think with Airbnbs and stuff, you can get some really good deals. There are a lot of Airbnbs in and around Gran Canaria, so you can get some really good bargains. Weather, the weather is ideal if you want to go in our winter. So from anywhere between like October, November, all the way through to like, I'd say March and April. I think after, when you're getting into like May, June, July, August, I think it's going to be pretty hot. So that's just something to bear in mind. You probably go in May, but I think all like proper summer months, I think it's just good. Unless you're really used to the heat. No, I think, because when I did Valley of the Tears there I think it was last February, it was baking hot. So yeah, just bear that in mind. The terrain, hilly. There is not really anything that's flat. It's just you're either going up or you're going down. And for me, because I love hills, I really like that. Also, I should mention this with the weather, it can be quite windy because obviously it's a little island in the Canaries, so you are going to get some wind here and there. What else is it say? Off-bike stuff. Gran Canaria, maybe it's just because of where I was staying. I feel like unless you're in like Maspalomas or something, I don't feel like there's that much to do like off the bike, unless you've got like a nice pool, you can read a book, which is what I was doing. I think they've actually just built a new beach at Arguin again, so I'll let you know when I'm there this year, let you know what the beach is like. But I didn't really feel like there were loads and loads of cafes when I'm out riding, like all the hills and stuff. I didn't feel like there was a lot. There's a couple of little towns. But yeah, that's just something to bear in mind as well. I keep saying that, there's something to bear in mind. But it is something to bear in mind. And then finally we come on to Tenerife, which I've just come back from very recently. So where I stayed. So I stayed in Los Cristianos, which is basically like a very predominantly Brits abroad area. It was pretty noisy, hectic, bars, clubs, restaurants, everything. But I actually really liked it, and I don't normally like that kind of stuff, but I actually did really like it. So again, that's probably about a 40-minute, I think it was probably like 40 minutes from the airport. What else? The weather again in Tenerife is in the Canaries, like Gran Canaria, and phenomenal. If it's in our really bad winter, it is just ideal temperatures. I think it was like maybe like 15 to 25, I would say, when I was there. It's just so nice. You can just go out in your short sleeves. It's just so nice. The cost, I got like a really good deal when I went out. I think it was like £700, like all in. So that was like flights, transfers, and the apartment where I stayed. So I think that was a pretty good deal. The terrain in Tenerife, very much like Gran Canaria, you're either going to go up or you're going down. There's just hills everywhere. There is some really long, obviously, Teide, which is the big mountain. And then you've got like lots of other shorter ones as well. There's some really short and steep climb as well that is in Gran Canaria. Obviously there's Valley of the Tears. But yeah, there's just a variety of all the different climbs you could ever want. And what else? Off bike. So again, because I stayed in Los Cristianos, there was a lot to do. Like off the bike, there were bars, restaurants, clubs, Beaches, I actually really like going to the beach, so I'd ride, then head to the beach, and it's just like really good fun. They had like a water sports, I didn't get time to do it, but I will if I go back. They had like a water sports thing in the sea, so I would definitely go back and try some water sports doing that. So now I'm just going to compare them all. So I would say, personally, I wasn't a big fan of Calpe. I wouldn't be in a rush to go back, just because maybe it's because of the weather just kind of put me off, but I didn't feel like, I feel like the other places, the other locations, I personally just liked better. So then we go on Mallorca. Mallorca is the perfect place if you want to go on, like, I think it's just the best for like a cycling trip with your club or with a big bunch of friends. Like, it's just got everything. And I think because there's a mixture of terrain, like there's a lot of up and a lot of flat, it would kind of keep the groups together more. Whereas I feel like Gran Canaria and Tenerife, I personally like going to them just because they are so hilly. So if you like hills and your club likes loads of hills, or the people that you're going with loves hills, they are the places to go and you want it warmer. But if you want to kind of keep everyone together, because that's kind of the problem, if like you're in a club and you're all different, you're all going to be spread out on the climbs, or if you want more variation, you want to like do a lot of flat, then you're not going to get that in Gran Canaria or Tenerife. So personally, if I was to rank them, if it was all going to be like nice, sunny, warm day, I would say, because I do like the steep stuff in Tenerife and Gran Canaria, probably Mallorca, the top, because I just felt there's so much variation of what you can do there. So Mallorca, Tenerife, Gran Canaria, Calpe. So if you've got any questions about any of them, leave them in the comments, and I hope you found this video helpful. And yeah, okay, right, see you next video.